Okay, so I'm doing a brief update of some changes that I've done. Back there in the corner, I removed a curved switch track. I'll show you later why. I'm going to shorten that track that's no longer connected. I started working on two 462s that I have, putting DCC in those. I also DCC'd this E8. I bought this green, I think it's an H44, to DCC the RS3 that's back there. This GP7, I have DCC stuff for it. I removed the trolley that used to be over here, and I'll show you why. I'm redoing a lot of things to the way the layout was normally running. I decaled and painted these Microtrains FTs in Boston and Maine. The changes really start over here. I'm going to be more than likely removing this passenger station. I removed the freight depot. This section of the layout was actually built for late 1800s, early 1900s. So the changes are going to be here. This track here on Main Street, I'm going to be double tracking it and expanding the layout about 8 inches from the edge to be able to double track it and create a street in Portland, Maine called Congress Street. Now Congress Street ran into another street called St. John Street. This curved switch track is right here, is going to be going here and connecting to that one track back there. This will allow better operations for my current project, which is Union Station. Union Station was built in the late 1880s of this pinkish granite. It was torn down in 1961 to make way for a mini mall of all things. So this is what I've got built so far. The clock in the station was actually made by the same people that made Big Ben. The street where the trolley is going to be double tracked, and that's what's going to connect over to the other module, which is going to be Congress Street now. There was another extension built on here, but I just don't have the room for it, so I cut it off to where it was originally built in the 1880s, with just that extension there. The two windows there, the white ones, are the dining room. That section there after the tower was an addition as well. The yard in the back of the station had that large train shed. I'll be building that as well. And to the right of that picture you can see the back of the headquarters, which is what I'm also going to build. That track back there between the passenger cars and the photo is the problem. It continues around and then it crosses the track here, and I'm not too happy with the way it works out there. So I'm reworking that, and that's where the curved switch is going to come into play. I also painted this baggage car and decaled the Boston and Maine Osgood Bradley passenger car there. That building there is one of 3 buildings that the headquarters were for the Maine Central. There was a large building that connected all 3 identical buildings like this. That was one of the largest buildings for a long time in the state. It made like a giant E. So this building here is a mock-up for how I'm going to be able to put it over here on the layout. We continue around. I reworked the entire port scene, which will be the southeast section of Portland, where all the wharfs are going to be. I'll end up extending this part of the layout probably about 5-6 inches to create another wharf and have more switch tracks to it to better represent Portland, Maine. I picked up these 2 cars, or I shouldn't pick up, they were delivered. They're going to be painted Maine Central and named like they were for the Maine Central, Abenaki and Sagadahoc. There's the trolley that used to be there, removed that. This part of the town will be reworked to better represent Old Port, Portland, and downtown by the wharfs. So in a nutshell, those are the changes that I've been doing. Been working more on DCCing and electrical than I have with scenery. And then when I finally decided to take on building Union Station, that kind of took up a lot more time. So I didn't get into any scenery or anything. The street that's there now will be gone. It'll be more perpendicular. That building back there is to represent the mail sorting post office that Union Station had. I'm trying to get close to similar prototype of the track layout, but as you can see in this photo, there was a lot of trackage there, and I don't have the room for it. So instead of 4 tracks going into the shed, I'm doing 3 tracks, and instead of 2 bypass tracks, one was freight, the other one was for that post office. I'm only going to do the freight bypass, which will connect back there by that push pin. And then this whole section here will get reworked to better represent Congress Street and whatnot. The train stations, I'll probably end up selling them. I mean, I have no real use for them. My layout's too small. It's only 6 by 6 by 6 by 6 around, around the wall shelf layout. Those houses there will go away more likely. I'm not going to do many changes at all to the freight yard. I'm pretty happy the way it's laid out and it works. I don't know if I mentioned before, I ended up double tracking. So there's those 2 tracks back there. One's for passenger, the other one's freight, and that freight line goes behind the town and connects in here to the harbor. I am going to add some more tracks back here to better accommodate freight sorting for the harbor, which there was a lot of tracks down by the wharves. And there was another station. There was 2 stations in Portland, Maine. One by the Boston, Maine Central, which was Union Station, and then the other one was Grand Trunk had a big station there as well. Unfortunately, it also meant the same thing. They tore that one down too. So no more stations there. But so this is what I've got for Union Station. Let's see if it focuses in. I guess not. It's too busy focusing on the photo in the background. I haven't got the turrets completely built out yet, nor all the dormers. That building, the station used to be covered with dormers. The ones there above the sign, those were also granite. It's all this pink granite that was quarried in New Hampshire. It's trimmed with copper. There's copper on top of the clock tower. On the dormers above the restaurant, that's the restaurant. Those 3 windows there to the left of that tower. Like I said, this photo was done in the 50s, and you can see in the background there, I don't know if you can see it, all those passenger cars, they had a large yard just before the station. So where the green grass is, to the right of the green grass is St. John Street, and that intersected with Congress Street. And Congress Street ran all the way from the station clear across the city to where the wharfs were at. So that's why I'm going to double track this. And it's funny because the actual trolleys stopped not far past the station, just about past the headquarters, and they had a switch track there. Excuse me. So the trolleys would switch tracks and then reverse the poles and head back the other way. So this will be all double tracked. I'll extend this out, remove that riverbed there, and then this will all go into the Congress Street. And like I said, I'll try and get closer to capturing the actual look and feel of Congress Street. May not be exact, but it's proto-land, so that's what you get.